The TV game is a hard one to break. Myriad shows are chucked against the wall every season, and it's almost impossible to predict what will stick. Many a long-running program has started out providing one kind of content and ended up doing something totally different. With that in mind, I'm Adam from What Culture, and here are 10 TV shows that changed dramatically. Number 10. New Girl. In 2011, Fox felt absolutely certain that the sheer force of Zooey Deschanel would be enough to sell a sitcom. Every advert and poster for New Girl featured Deschanel as Jess, the titular character, front and center, with her co-stars way out in the background if pictured at all. She was, we were promised, adorable. And to be fair, Deschanel was a great fit for TV. Then at the peak of her powers, her public persona worked perfectly in 20-minute chunks. The simple premise saw her quirky school teacher character to move into an apartment with a disparate bunch of boys, wherein hijinks couldn't help but ensue. Quickly though, the writers realized that there was life in this project beyond Zooey Deschanel, the show. As the rest of the cast, Jake Johnson, Lamorne Morris, Hannah Simone, and the exceptional Max Greenfield, found their feet in the supporting roles, the show was reshaped around the ensemble. It transformed from a star vehicle to the era's best hangout show. So distinct was this transformation that Jess could be written off the show for a spell while Deschanel gave birth. Smart writing and great cast chemistry turned what could have been a flash in the pan into one of the great modern network comedies. Number 9. The Leftovers. This masterful drama created by Damon Lindelof and Tom Perrotta, on whose novel it's based, is by design in a constant state of flux. We're dropped into a terrifying reality in which 2% of the world's population has disappeared without trace or explanation. And from there, we follow an evolving cast of characters as they make sense of the new reality and hope to rebuild. Most obviously, each season takes place primarily or entirely in a different location. For the first run, we're in a small town in New York State, where our series-long protagonists Kevin and Nora find each other among a landscape of religious fundamentalism, nihilism, and grief. After this, we decamp first to Miracle, Texas, a town unblighted by the Rapture-like event, and later, Australia. Beyond this though, the tone and genre shift perceivably, sliding from psychological drama into something akin to sci-fi. The series remains rooted in realism commendably throughout. As time passes, we see the departure fade into the background. Life, as it must, goes on for those who remain. Number 8. PEEP Show. Jesse Armstrong and Sam Bain's sitcom will rightfully be remembered as one of the 21st century's best. But uncommonly for a British comedy, it didn't half outstay its welcome. For long-term fans of the show, watching the dying days of Mark and Jeremy was like watching an entirely different program. At the outset, PEEP Show was as well observed as British comedy had been in years. Everybody is a Mark or a Jez, two diametrically opposed characters who are nonetheless equally dysfunctional. From romantic failures to thwarted careers, delusions of grandeur, and unreliable mates, PEEP Show was a painful laugh precisely because so much of the content was recognizable. Somewhere along the way though, it turned into a cartoon. While that's hardly uncommon for long-running comedies, it's rare to see a show once so grounded go so totally wild. Low-key disappointments were replaced by snakes, electric fences, and decisions no human would ever make. The show never forgot how to tell a joke, but the limping form of PEEP Show's final days is something of a blight on a show that could have been perfect had it ended earlier. Number 7. Entourage. For the first few seasons of HBO's Entourage, we were presented with a satire of the vacuity and banality of modern Hollywood. We followed burgeoning actor Vincent Chase and his coattail riding friends as they enjoyed life in the lap of luxury without much in the way of discernible talent. For the remainder of its run, Vince and the boys got everything they could imagine, be that wealth, material goods, beautiful women, or inexplicable career success. Again, without a discernible talent between them. Each season was more pointless than the last, setting up conflicts that would be overcome an episode later, or some of the most ludicrous Deus Ex Machinas in TV history. While the show initially poked fun at these greedy, amoral characters, by the end it was clear the writers thought they were to be celebrated. The incessant product placement, meaningless celebrity cameos, and casual hate speech entirely replaced the compelling stories of the first 3 seasons. The movie, in which it transpires Vince is also a great director as well as the world's greatest actor, is the cherry on top of the sundae. Number 6. Parks and Recreation. This Amy Poehler-led sitcom went through several iterations in its 7-season tenure. When it started off, it was quickly dismissed as another Office imitator, not least because of its mock-doc style and the personnel involved on both sides of the camera. It quickly switched its tone into something akin to a live-action Simpsons, Much for the better. The town of Pawnee felt incredibly well realized, and while they maintained the talking head format, creator Michael Schur was less strict with the Fox reality format. As the show became more satirical of modern politics, it changed again, with seasons 3 to 5 carefully plotted, perhaps hitting its peak with Paula's Leslie Knope running for city council in a massively compelling run of episodes. In its endgame though, it pioneered a bizarre trend of modern comedy, and became a show about how important it is to be nice to one another. Gone were the well-crafted relationships and dramatic tension, gone were the jokes, for the most part. Unfortunately, Parks and Recreation limped over the line, and was indirectly responsible for the likes of Ted Lasso. Number 5. OREL. This criminally underrated Adult Swim stop-motion series from Dino Stamatopoulos, Community Starburns, was a bold proposition from the off. Spoofing American sitcoms and religious kids programming, it was an acidic take on small-town fundamentalism. The gist of the early show saw our titular character get into scrapes through far too literal interpretation of Christian messages. For the ensuing havoc, he'd then be punished severely by his father, Clay, one of the most hauntingly well-realized stop-motion characters ever depicted. The episodic nature of the first 2 seasons was turned on its head for the final full-length run. Season 3 is one long arc, delving into incredible darkness as Stamatopoulos and his co-writers shift focus primarily to Clay, his past, and what made him the abusive, hate-filled figure we've followed and laughed at thus far. It's easily the show's finest season. The writing is immaculate, maintaining OREL's often shocking comedy while presenting a character study as well as a note of genuine earned hope that the majority of live-action shows could only hope to achieve. Number 4. Orange is the New Black. One of Netflix's earliest hits, Orange is the New Black is a show whose lofty aims only grow as it goes on. Set in a women's prison, by design viewers are introduced quickly to a large cast of inmates and guards. The entry point though is Piper Chapman, who sticks out like a sore thumb in her capacity as an unworldly wasp convicted of a historic one-off offense. As the show goes on though, the writers smartly realize that Piper is by no means the most interesting character they have at their disposal. Indeed, Orange is the New Black is commendable for the diversity of its cast, and through flashbacks, we're introduced to women from all walks of life. With Piper's story pushed to a supporting role, it allows showrunner Jenji Kohan to examine topics like the education system, immigration, mental health, and the cycle of poverty. The show isn't always the most subtle, but its ability to reshape and refocus allows it to examine important issues on a major platform. While Piper remains the de facto lead, by its conclusion, the show is a true ensemble piece, and arguably has its finest moments in the last couple of seasons. Number 3. Line of Duty. What a difference a budget makes. The first 3 seasons of Line of Duty were made from the standard British drama purse. That is to say, savings were made possible. The cast was kept small. AC-12's internal affair coppers, their subject, and a few baddies. Plots were sharp, plenty of moving pieces, but action, location, and set pieces were at a premium. Once the broadcaster realized they had a genuine sensation on their hands though, things changed sharpish. From a small team of straight arrow police investigating a few bad apples, Line of Duty's plots became labyrinthine, involving vast conspiracies, gunplay, code names, and a lot of scenes involving baddies piling into or out of black Land Rovers. It's a matter of taste which you prefer, but as the show and the budget took off, it's noticeable that the stories became a whole lot wackier, the stuff of action movies rather than the stuff of real newspaper headlines. The final left a lot of fans disappointed, but the mundanity of the ending was almost the point. Crime often isn't exciting or glossy. After 3 seasons of daftness though, that's not what the viewers were conditioned to expect. Number 2. Atlanta. FX's Extraordinary Atlanta is an example of what can happen when a network puts total faith in a creator. When the show began in 2016, star and writer Donald Glover was already somewhat of a hot commodity. Around this time, he blew up to a significant degree thanks to his Renaissance man prolificacy. Luckily for fans, the network was smart enough to leave well enough alone. Atlanta's elevator pitch and the focus of its first season is simple enough. Glover plays Earn, a smart but often unlucky man attempting to break his cousin, a rapper on the rise by the name of Paperboy. The show is a character piece, a slice of life in the titular city, as well as a satire of the music game, one Glover knows well in his childish Gambino guise. There were surreal moments from the off, but once Glover is let off the leash, things go really wild. As and when he wishes, Atlanta goes off on location, set episodes in a haunted house, with Glover playing Teddy Perkins, one of TV's wildest one-off characters, or eschews the main cast altogether. TV is hardly an auteur's medium, but Atlanta, more than almost any show, has a defining vision throughout, even when it shifts its style, personnel, and continent from episode to episode. Number 1. Breaking Bad. Watching Walter White laugh manically wedged under his floorboards, or inadvertently cause the death of his brother-in-law, or barely flinch as a child is murdered, and it can be easy to forget that Breaking Bad was, at one time, a black comedy. One of TV's great premises, Breaking Bad sees a meek teacher decide to make a fortune from crystal meth after being diagnosed with cancer. The measured pacing of season 1 gave us plenty of time to watch Walter blundle through the drugs game, enjoy a culture clash with former student Jesse Pinkman, and gradually assert himself in a world that has often made him the butt of the joke. It doesn't take too long for things to take an incredibly dark turn though. Creator Vince Gilligan's intention was to show us a good man turned evil, how logically that might play out, and as Walter embraces villainy, the laughs certainly dry up. The show embraces a lot of genres, western, gangster, thriller, but the most shocking transformation is its tone. In comparison to the weighty themes and plots examined in its last days, the first season is a downright knockabout. But what did you think of our list there? Please do let us know about our entries. And also let us know which TV show do you think changed the most, for better or for worse. If you want to follow me on socials, I am at Strawn87 on Instagram and on Twitter. Come and chat to me on there if you like. Thank you for watching everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, take care.